Welcome to FRC Media News for Thursday, July 14th, 2016. I'm Keith Tebow. On this week's show, we highlight details on a ribbon-cutting ceremony to honor the opening of the new John J. Sprague Health and Science Building at BCC. We introduce you to the city's new school superintendent and provide details about a summer reading program at the Fall River Public Library. But first, let's discuss the news details of the week. Coming off and still celebrating Portugal's win in the European Championship, joining us is Will Richmond, the digital news editor at the Herald News. How are you, Will?
I'm good, Keith. How's it going?
Good. You're not Portuguese. Are you Portuguese?
I am a small part Portuguese coming from my mother's side.
Oh,
yes.
There you go. So there was some celebration in the family over Sunday's big win by Portugal in the European Championship. All right, let's get right to it. Unfortunately, we're leading off with some sad news. Another murder this week in the city of Fall River on Plain Street. A 29-year-old Jared Cohen murdered allegedly by a 16-year-old student Joel Lopez, and he was arraigned this week. What can you give us, what is known right now, Will, about the details of this?
Well, at this point, a lot of information to still be gathered at this point, as there was not much said in court during the arraignment yesterday afternoon. But it appears a 16-year-old and another person that, as of this time on Thursday afternoon, has not been caught yet, approached Cohen and other people who are outside the home at 129 Plain Street and just began opening fire. A bullet struck Cohen in the chest, went through his body into the home behind him, and he was declared dead a short time later at Rhode Island Hospital. The suspect, as you mentioned, is being held without bail at this point. There appears to possibly be some gang ties based on previous conversations that he's had with law enforcement, but that is some information we're looking to firm up in the days ahead.
It's really, all these incidents are unfortunate, but when you have a 16-year-old involved, again, the investigation is going to continue. You mentioned there may be a second person involved, but when you hear a 16-year-old with his life really ahead of him, it is tragic on many, many levels, and unfortunately we're hearing more and more of that. And if there is some gang-related activity, a lot of times that's where those two meet, when a youngster gets involved in that kind of element. But we'll be following it up with the Herald News as well as we find out more about this as the investigation continues. City Council this week had its meeting at Government Center. Number of issues on the plate. One of them, Mayor Correa's proposed changes to the ordinances on a number of positions within his administration. Now, Will, these positions, were they actually listed as such in terms of their salary changes in the budget that was just approved by the council?
Well, these are positions that are the salaries of the positions are guided by ordinance, which is approved by the city council. So in some cases, this is a request. There's one request to increase the salary for the position of special assistant to the mayor, which would be increasing from $45,000 to $52,000, I believe. And then there's other language issues that include putting the language in that says the salary for the position can be up to a specific amount. Right. I think if you recall back to the issue with the hiring of a new DCM director, the city had tried to hire one a rate higher than they had initially sort of pitched the position to the city council. So this language would make the salary more of a range than a specific number. So some of it is it's a little bit of language cleanup in the ordinance. But in the case of the special assistant position, that would be looking to raise the salary amount. Were
councilors receptive to some of these changes at the meeting this week?
I think at this point, there's probably more they want to know.
Right.
On first hold, there's much that goes through the council from the mayor's office. Receptiveness is not the initial order of business on their end. So at this point, I think they're looking to learn more and kind of progress from there. I would imagine the salary increase would be their biggest concern, though. I mean, from my perspective, the idea of cleaning up language in ordinances and creating the possibility that an employee could make less if that is the case by having the ordinance read up to a certain salary amount, that would make logical sense.
Right. So part of this is cleaning up maybe potential ambiguity in the language within the ordinance. So that's may not be a bad thing, as you said. The other item before the City Council this week is there was a discussion about the council hiring its own legal counsel in terms of lawyerly help. Right now, the council also uses the services of the Corporation Counsel's office, but this is nothing new. The city of New Bedford, I believe, I know when I was doing news in the city, they have their own legal counsel for the city council. So this may be nothing new, but new to Fall River. And is this a way to maybe protect the city in some ways from some of the actions that the council may want to pursue, or at least have an attorney on hand that would be looking at the best interests of the council?
Yeah, I think it certainly helps to ensure that the legal counsel is looking out for the positions of the city council. The city's corporation counsel typically represents the mayor's office before the council. Mm-hmm. So, issues of law can be disputed, as is often the case. And if the corporation counsel comes down on the position of the mayor's side, the council would be wise to have their own legal advisement that they feel is unbiased to advise them on issues. So, like you mentioned, this is an issue that has gone on for some time. I recall the council exploring this issue a couple of years ago. Mm-hmm. And I tend to mix up news that comes out of these two communities, but I know in either Quincy or Brockton, the council there is also looking to obtain their own counsel for similar reasons.
Right. So we'll keep following this as the City Council continues with its deliberations. Good news this week, Will, finally, if you're crossing the Bragger Bridge, which we actually both do on a daily basis, the exits, exit 5 heading eastbound and on the other side heading towards 79, all those exits now open and all that work seems to be done. There's still some minor details to be worked out in some of the work, but the exits are open. Traffic and flow is flowing, and that's a good thing for city drivers. All we need now, Will, is to have the Bragger Bridge finished.
Yeah, we're hopeful that the ramp work appears to be done ahead of schedule, so that's a good sign. If the bridge work can be also done ahead of schedule, I think the expected completion date is sometime in the coming spring. Mm-hmm. So we're still a ways off from that, but another mild winter, and we may see that get done sooner. But yeah, certainly the interchange of the ramps is a much cleaner aspect than it used to be for motorists, and it does seem traffic is starting to flow down there. We're about a week removed from the opening of those new ramps, and a lot of positive response, especially for the new "Welcome to Fall River" sign that greets people as they come down there. So. A good start for where this project is going. Yeah,
that's right off exit 5. As you come right off the bridge, you take exit 5, go to the right, and then you come to a spot with a beautiful sign, "Welcome to Fall River." So traffic continues to flow in the city, and we'll await more word on the completion of the work on the bridge. All right, well, finally, you're younger than I am. Are you in the Pokemon generation? Are you in with this Pokemon Go game that's been taking over the United States? Not quite the world. I don't think it's available in all countries yet, but are you involved in all this at all?
I have managed to stay away from the Pokemon Go trend. I certainly don't blame those people who are into it. I've got my favorites when it comes to phone apps and that kind of thing, but I've managed to stay away from this one. At this point, so the ins and outs of it, I'd leave that one to someone else, but it certainly seems there's some good positive aspects coming out of it as well.
Now, you're right in downtown. Are you seeing people walking around looking at their phones in a different manner, looking at their phones, looking up to see if are there any Pokemon near the Herald News? Should ask that.
We have not seen any. I think I saw someone who works here who may have posted a screen image of seeing one in the sort of grass lot across the street from us, behind the Chamber parking lot, or behind the Chamber building. So there may be one there, but I have noticed a couple people that appear to be playing the game in the area downtown, and I've seen a lot of posts around the Battleship Cove area as well. So for the players that haven't been down there, I guess hint, hint, wink, wink.
Yeah, we also know there's quite a few here at the campus of Bristol Community College. So our people here have seen people walking. Even last night, we were covering an event. They were walking around apparently trying to catch those Pokemon. So anyway, not part of my my deal either, but still interesting to see how culture evolves with this this type of thing from many people's youth. All right, well, thanks for joining us. We'll talk again next week. What's happening with the Herald News this coming up?
This weekend we'll be taking a look. It's the summertime when there's typically a lot of action happening at. You talk about an old time kind of thing. Is Granges in the area. So local Granges are kind of trying to keep up from the old farmsteading days, and so we got to taking a good look at what's happening in those old buildings you see in a lot of the towns.
Yeah. All right, well, sounds good. We'll talk next week.
All right, have a good weekend.
We'll have more FRC Media News right after this.
Hot job list for the week of July 11th through the 17th. Senior Human Resource Assistant, job number 756-7627. College Security Guard, job number 756-7784. Human Resources Services Job Coach, job number 755-5128. Bilingual Customer Service Representative, job number 756-7687. Home Health Registered Nurse, job number 758-4520. Certified Nurse Assistant, job number 757-1408. Dietary Aid, job number 755-5872. For more information, visit frcmedianews.org or call the Fall River Career Center at 508-730-5000.
Welcome back. Bristol Community College this afternoon officially opened the John J. Sprague Health and Science Building at the college's Ellsbury Street campus. The building will be open for classes this fall and will be the new home for the college's nursing, dental hygiene, and life sciences program. Massachusetts Governor Charlie Baker was among those dignitaries on hand for today's ribbon-cutting ceremony. The Sprague Health and Science Building is the college's first newly constructed building at the Fall River campus since 2001. The 46,000 square foot LEED Platinum rated building is the largest zero net energy classroom and science building in the Northeast, winning regional and national awards for its innovative design and approach to sustainable construction. With the start of the new fiscal year, July 1st, also came the start of a new job for former State Secretary of Education, Dr. Matthew Malone. Dr. Malone was hired at an initial $183,000 annual salary to serve as Fall River's new school superintendent, replacing outgoing superintendent Meg Mayo Brown. In his new position for only 6 days, Dr. Malone came into our studios for a talk with our Donna Mata. Dr. Malone says he was excited to begin working in Fall River's urban environment.
Knowing Fall River, and I know Fall River well from both my time as superintendent in Brockton, where Meg and I served on the same urban superintendent's network, but also as secretary, where I visited several times the good work that's been happening in Fall River. It is as I said in my interview, it's a lighthouse community. People are watching what's happening in Fall River, and so I was drawn to this. And I think when you saw the candidates, they had a hard choice. They had really strong candidate pool, and people wanted to come here. And I was very fortunate to be able to be the last person standing, if you will, and excited to accept. My calling in life has been to serve, particularly inner city children. And we are all very, how do we say, fit is important. And you know, we've all worked in different places where it wasn't the right fit, and I've had that in my career. But for me, I felt strongly that Fall River is a good fit. I feel at home here. I can talk as if I was from the community, and I'm having a great time interacting, engaging that way. But I served primarily as an educator, traditional rank. I've served as a I started as a substitute teacher. I've been a paraprofessional. I've been a teacher. I've been an assistant principal, assistant superintendent, and I served as superintendent 3 times prior to this. And in between that, I was able to serve as Governor Patrick's Secretary of Education for 2 years, as the final 2 years of his administration. And I think that gives me great insight into how the work is much more than just what we think we do at elementary, middle, and high school. It's really partnership with early childhood and higher ed, like here at Bristol Community College. So I'm really excited about being able to bring everything I've learned, experiences, to this team and work with the school committee, who are good people, focus on the right things, and work to govern the system in a way that will bring honesty, trust, and integrity to the people who entrust us to spend their dollars well and protect their children and educate them.
Well, as you know, Fall River is an economically depressed area. You know, education is on the forefront of everybody's mind, and I'm just saying all the taxpayers and residents of the city. There are a lot of proponents of education here,
yep.
And you're stepping into a rather difficult position. It may be challenging, but it's difficult. What do you think is the most difficult challenge facing our students here in Fall River? Not to put you on the spot,
yeah, well,
but just like the most, if you were going to prioritize it for that way.
Well, I think what we have to do is look at one of the challenges that jumped out at me is student attendance. And we have our attendance rate, chronic absenteeism, is too high. Now, it's been a priority. We're going to continue that priority and make that a real campaign, if you will, continue to really push hard. We know when kids are in school, they learn more, they're more engaged, they're actually healthier, there's greater mental health as well. So we know we can build those connectivities to college and career through students being in school, engaged, and doing well.
Tenants of the city's multi-unit housing complexes run by the Fall River Housing Authority are well taken care of thanks to a nonprofit group called the Joint Tenants Council. Executive Director Ed Gagnon gives us details about his responsibilities.
Basically, we support residents who live within the 26 developments managed by the Fall River Housing Authority. The 11 high-rises, the 10 family developments. The only thing we don't do is we don't support the residents who live within the 5 managed properties, which are for basically totally disabled individuals. We help the seniors age in place. In the family developments, we help people obtain jobs. We recently just ran our 3rd job fair at the Boys and Girls Club. We're planning the one for November, and we work closely with the Housing Authority on tenant rights. Basically, it's almost like a labor union, where employees have a labor union to work with them on their rights with management. The Housing Authority is basically the employer, if you looked at it from that point of view, and we're the labor union for the residents. Once a year, we'll all sit down with management. We'll come up with the new rules and regulations like pet policies, inspections, that type of thing. We'll submit them to HUD for approval, and then we'll put that all out in April of every year.
Now, the purpose of the Joint Tenants Council is to help seniors stay living in their homes rather than in other types of senior citizen housing.
It's much cheaper to have a senior living in his apartment, paying his rent with the friends that he's known or she's known or they've known all their lives, rather than be put into assisted living where they don't know anybody, or a nursing home, which could be even worse, and both are very much more expensive than having them live in their own apartment.
We'll have more FRC Media News right after this.
This is Tanner. Tanner's a 1-year-old pit mix, very much still a puppy. You didn't see it because we didn't get any footage of it, but as we come in, he was bouncing about. So he's definitely got plenty of energy. If you're the more active type, he'd definitely be right up your alley. He does need some basic behavioral training. He knows some commands, basic ones, sit, stay, that sort of thing. But but given his young age and his level of energy, he definitely needs someone to work with him a little bit. Oh, be calm. To become, but he's a really good dog, really fun dog too.
Well, her name is Olivia. She's about 4 years old. She had 3 babies, which you may be able to meet next week. And she's very loving, very cuddly, and she's just an all-around good cat, very well balanced. She's a red patch tabby, so she has the calico mixed in with her as well.
The summer reading program kicked off this week at the Fall River Public Library. Director of Children's Services Dave Mello talks about what the program entails.
The Summer Reading Club is available to any child at all, even if they are not able to read themselves. Recommended for ages 12 and younger. If they cannot read, they can still take credit for the books that are being read to them by adults or older siblings. And children are encouraged to read over the summer, keep their summer reading skills going and nice and strong. Read any book at all that you like, whatever suits your fancy, biographies, picture books, history. And they keep track of their titles on this reading log right here. They collect little prizes as they go along, little incentive prizes, as well as raffle tickets that are placed right in the magician's hat, right next to me here. And at the end of the summer, we have a raffle for some bigger prizes. We want kids to have fun, keep their reading skills going over the summer, and explore the library and have a good time. And also, besides the Summer Reading Club, we have a host of wonderful family events. Everything from arts and craft programs to outdoor picnic story times, our annual teddy bear picnic, magicians, puppet shows, you name it, we have it here. And the wonderful thing is, it's all free.
The book club is run by library staff and volunteers.
Oh, we work with a regular host of volunteers that we presently have, and what's wonderful from Rockland Trust is we not only get their support in the way of funding for the program, but they send a lot of their actual bank workers to come and assist us, so they get to see what actually is going on here at the library as well, which is wonderful.
For more information on the Summer Reading Library, call the Fall River Library at 508-324-2700. That'll do it for this edition of FRC Media News. You can watch FRC Media News Thursday and Friday at 6 p.m., but online 24/7 at frcmedianews.org. For all of us here at FRC Media News, I'm Keith Tebow. Have a great week, and we'll see you next Thursday.